Would future Trunks have been great for the Tournament of Power, or should he stay in his own timeline? Well, we asked you guys on Twitter, and after looking at the results, it seems like a lot of people would have appreciated future Trunks coming back. So without wasting any more time, Mr. Rhymestyle and I are going to be discussing this topic today, why we think Trunks would have been good, and why we also think Trunks wouldn't have been good in some ways, to give you an unbiased opinion. So let's get started. So, Mr. Rhymestyle, Mr. Crimestyle, would you have wanted future Trunks back for this Tournament of Power in the first place?
Absolutely not. He's literally the worst character. No, I'm just kidding. the dislike ratio is already increasing. No, I love Trunks. He's one of my favorites. 100% would have loved to have Trunks back. Not necessarily because he's a great character and he's also powerful, but I think he's a good and smart fighter. I mean, you saw how fast he jumped in and took care of Frieza, how fast he jumped in and took care of Bulla, you know, when they explained what happened when Bulla visited his timeline in Dragon Ball Super. He's like right into the point. He doesn't try to hold back or have a good fight, you know, which is a issue that Goku has a lot of times. He just gets in there and gets the job done. With that said, with knowing what's at risk, he would do that. He would jump in and just, you know, really be a good team fighter that's going to fight for everybody in the right way. So 100% would love to have him back.
So in a way, it would be kind of cool to see Trunks returning the favor and saying, all right, well, you guys, you know, obviously destroyed my whole timeline, but you got rid of the bad guy. I'm going to try to repay the favor and help you guys fight once again, just like what happened back in the Android arc. And I think it would also be cool to see the return of Mai and those cool interactions between Kid Trunks, Future Trunks, and present Mai and future Mai. And how cool would it be to see Gohan and Trunks, two half Saiyans, fighting once again, kind of like how both Gohan and Future Trunks were fighting like in the history of Trunks?
I'd be 100% down for that. And I guarantee you right now, as we're saying this, the comment section is flooding with people who are like, I would love this. In fact, let me ask the people out there who wouldn't want that. Why would you not want that? I mean, I know you could probably say, well, it wouldn't make any sense. Technically, you know, time travel is taboo. How would it even get there? But let's say for whatever reason, because of how dire the situation was, you know, and because they lost their fighter last second and the universe is at stake, let's say Weiss and Beer's like, you know what? We'll cheat for right now. Go grab Trunks, pick him up now. I could see they do something like that. With that said, why would you not want to have Trunks in this situation? I'm really curious to know. And again, to those in the comments, don't kill each other over it. So if someone says they don't want Trunks, it's okay. It's just your opinion. Just want to kind of toss out the disclaimer. But explain why people wouldn't want that. But yeah, I just want to kind of see what the people say.
Well, my thing is, Rhymestyle, I think if we want to be unbiased, because we can't fanboy over everything, I think the one con of having Future Trunks would be the fact that there would be too much oversaturation of his character. If you're going to bring Future Trunks back just for the tournament, then it's kind of like, okay, so you're just using him in two big arcs right back to back. So that's like so much Trunks time throughout everything that's going on, and I think people might have gotten bored of having him around. And if you're gonna do that, you might as well make him a part of the main cast and never go back to his own timeline.
You know what? I completely agree with that. That makes a lot of sense.
Right. And to ask you a question here, Rhymestyle, I think one other cool thing that would be also good, because we talked about interactions, obviously you would have the father-son interaction with Goku and Gohan and then Vegeta and Trunks. What do you think it would be like having future Trunks fighting on the same team as 17 and 18, who literally killed almost everybody in his future?
Now that would be awesome, and that's something that I would have loved to see. I mean, to be honest, I think he would have accepted it because, like, you saw his interactions with Android 18 when he went back into the past, and it was kind of like, well, you know, it's forgiven. You're a different Android than the one in my timeline. I think he's gotten to the point where he's okay with it. Granted, he still probably has some form of PTSD from it because he was literally living under the tyranny of these androids for many, many years. But honestly, I think he'll be fine. But it will be kind of interesting to see, like, how, you know, 10 years ago in the Cell Saga, we saw, you know, them fighting and hating each other, and now they're working together. It will be kind of like a twist in the mind.
Right, and that would actually be cool to like see Trunks interacting with those androids. But I think another cool thing here is going back to Frieza. The question is, if Frieza goes rogue, as what we've been seeing in Dragon Ball Super with Frost, you know, don't you think Trunks would be a great insurance card? If Frieza goes rogue, you have another super powerful character to balance it off. Whereas in this Tournament of Power, if Frieza goes rogue, that drastically shrinks the power of your team, because now with Frieza gone, your team is much weaker instead of having Trunks to take up the slack.
Would we have Frieza back if Trunks was there? Because I feel like if the option was between Trunks and Frieza, the Trunks would be the one that would go for immediately.
Well, I think there's two ways to look at this question. The first way to look at it is, if Fat Boo were to still fall asleep, then that means that future Trunks would simply just replace his spot. You wouldn't need Frieza, and then you would have one of the weaker fighters like Krillin, Tien, Master Roshi can fill in that last spot. However, you could also look at this in another scenario. You have future Trunks already on your team, and then instead of having a character like Krillin, Tien, Master Roshi, any of those other characters having there, you would want Frieza to be there in their place to make your team even stronger. And although you risk having Frieza on your team and obviously him betraying you, you at least have future Trunks to provide more insurance in case Frieza were to go rogue or if Frieza were to lose.
It def does.
But let's talk about the filler episodes for a second here. So Dragon Ball Super has had a lot of preparation and a lot of build-up episodes to get to this Tournament of Power itself. What interesting interactions would you have liked to have seen Trunks having in all of these episodes and all these mini plot lines leading up to the Tournament of Power?
You know, this goes back to the androids. Imagine if they were like, you know, we're busy recruiting. Trunks, can you go pick up 17 and 18? I think that would have been fun. Because then it's like, he didn't really get a chance to hang out with 18 when he was in the past in Dragon Ball Super, but now it's like they would have more room to do in a span of an episode. And just imagine like how we watched Goku and 17 protect that island, but in this situation it would be Trunks. That would have been incredible to see. That complete twist to what, you know, to the android that Trunks grew up with. I would have loved to see that.
That would have been, that's a great point you make there, Rhymestyle, because obviously Trunks has more history with 17 than Goku has with 17, and the same thing goes for 18, obviously in different timelines. One thing I think would be really interesting though, Dino, would be the training sequence with Gohan. So in Dragon Ball Super, we saw that Piccolo was retraining Gohan, and then eventually Gohan trained against Goku and Tien, and he was teamed up with Piccolo. How cool would it be, although Piccolo's my favorite character, to see Gohan and Goku fighting against Vegeta and Trunks in preparation for a tournament? How, or how awesome would it be to see Gohan and Trunks fighting against Vegeta and Goku?
I like the father-son combo, but at the same time, like when I say Gohan and Trunks, I'm thinking of Trunks that, you know, the Gohan D grew up with. Because granted, you know, Gohan is always going to be Gohan. They're kind of different. But maybe they might have some vibes and chemistry together when they're fighting that would work. So I'm going to go with the Gohan Trunks combo. I'm going to go with that one.
Yeah, I would actually say the same thing here, and my reasoning for that would be because of the fact that if you look at Gohan and Trunks, it kind of brings you back to the whole future Gohan, future Trunks thing, and on top of that, it creates more of an uphill battle because now they have to fight their much stronger fathers in the situation.
Right, exactly.
Right, and also, if I were to add one more thing to also seeing what Trunks could have done in some of the build-up episodes here, I think it would have also have been cool to see Trunks interacting with Bulla, and I think this is actually more of a social thing in Dragon Ball, but Bulla is his sister from like an alternate timeline, and to see Trunks knowing that he has a sister in an alternate timeline and also having a younger version of himself, it's literally like Trunks has a younger brother and a little sister.
I like that a lot too. I mean, I think that'd be kind of like the awkward interaction, similar to what we saw when, you know, when 17 met Marin. So it'll be just more comical in the end, but I don't think it'll be too much focus around it. Again, my big one that I want to see is, again, the Gohan Trunks interaction, and then of course the big one, which would be Trunks and the androids, the good androids.
And ultimately, guys, I definitely think that it would be really cool to see Trunks again. Yeah, it would be reusing a character, but, you know, honestly, to tell you the truth, Frieza makes no sense to bring back, even though it's good for the plot in a weird way, and I've had mixed opinions on this. I like what they're doing with Frieza, even though logically it's stupid, but Trunks would have been a safer option. It would have been a reused option, but it would be cool to see Trunks having one more hurrah with all of the Dragon Ball fighters. And the video doesn't end here, guys, as I want you guys to let us know all of your thoughts in the comment section below as to what you think Trunks could have given Universe 7 in this Tournament of Power. How do you think he would have interacted with other characters, and why you think it would be a good or a bad idea? And before I close this out, I got some final words to say. Check out my bro Rhymestyle in my description. I will be posting a link to his channel. We actually recently did a video about Trunks on his channel not that long ago, so let's discuss all of this.
An interesting one.
Alrighty, so with everything else said, please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. And remember, as I always say, to have a great day, guys, and have an awesome time watching the continuation of the Tournament of Power.